The film was shot using iPhone 15 Pros. Cinematographer Anthony Dodd Mantle used iPhone 15 Pro Max cameras as the principal filming device for 28 years later. The choice continued the tradition of using emerging consumer technology, just as the original 28 Days Later pioneered early digital video cameras. Some scenes used up to 20 iPhones arranged in a curved rig to create a poor man's bullet time effect. The Bone Temple used 250,000 replica bones. One of the film's most spectacular sets, the Bone Temple, took approximately 6 months to construct and required over 250,000 replica bones. The massive structure featured thousands of individual skulls arranged in a towering pyre and was built in Redmire, North Yorkshire. Production designers wanted a location that felt unchanged and timeless. The film recreated the destroyed Sycamore Gap tree. The iconic Sycamore Gap tree, which appeared in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, was vandalized and destroyed in 2023. Since filming began after its destruction, the visual effects team digitally recreated the tree for 28 years later as a tribute. Boyle wanted to show the tree as it would have been before the virus outbreak, suggesting some beautiful things survived in this alternate timeline. First-time film composers scored the entire movie. The Scottish hip-hop group. Young fathers who had no prior film scoring experience were given the entire 28 Years Later soundtrack. Danny Boyle described them as major Beach Boys and took a creative risk trusting first-time movie composers. Their experimental approach complemented the film's innovative visual techniques and brought fresh energy to the horror genre. The trailer used a 110-year-old recording. The trailer for 28 Years Later features a 1915 recording of Rudyard Kipling's poem, Boots, performed by actor Taylor Holmes. The recording starts calmly, but becomes increasingly disturbing and frenzied, perfectly capturing the descent into madness. American military forces actually use this recording in SEER training programs to prepare soldiers against psychological torture. 2 sequels were filmed back-to-back. 28 Years Later and its sequel 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, were filmed simultaneously to save resources and ensure continuity. Director Nia DaCosta helmed the second film, while Boyle remained as producer. The Bone Temple is scheduled for release in January 2026, with both scripts written by Alex Garland. The iPhone rig created a unique psychological effect. The 20 iPhone circular rig not only created the bullet time effect, but also denied actors and even the cinematographer knowledge of which specific frame would be used. This uncertainty created authentic tension and unpredictability in performances. The rig was mounted on 3D printed lightweight equipment that could be moved to any location. Over 80% of shooting used local Northeast England locations. The production filmed extensively in Northeast England locations like Hexham and Holy Island, with over 80% of the movie shot regionally. Local residents were cast as extras, including supermarket workers, cycling enthusiasts, and counselors. Some locals were even cast as infected characters in crowd sequences, giving the movie authentic regional character. Holy Island's causeway was the perfect natural defense. Danny Boyle chose Holy Island specifically because of its tidal causeway, which creates natural vulnerability and isolation. The geographic feature acts as both potential entrapment and safety for survivors, creating authentic tension for horror storytelling. The causeway is covered by tides and has caused several real-life deaths when people attempt to cross at the wrong time. Cillian Murphy doesn't appear but returns as executive producer. Despite widespread fan speculation and trailer analysis suggesting Cillian Murphy would reprise his role as Jim, he does not appear in 28 Years Later. However, Murphy returned as an executive producer, reuniting with Danny Boyle and Alex Garland for the first time since Sunshine, 2007. Murphy confirmed he will appear for a little bit in the sequel, 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. A gaunt infected was mistaken for Murphy's corpse. When the first trailer dropped, Fans speculated that a skeletal, gaunt, infected figure was actually Jim's corpse. The Guardian revealed the character was actually portrayed by art dealer Angus Neal, not Cillian Murphy. The confusion demonstrated how invested fans were in seeing Murphy's return to the franchise. The film features evolved slow-low infected. The rage virus has evolved over 28 years, creating new infected variants called slow-lows, who crawl on all fours eating bugs and worms. These bloated, pale creatures move slowly to conserve energy, but can still stand and walk when threatened. They're larger and fleshier than original infected, with wet, slug-like skin, and feast on leftovers from other infected. The alphas represent strategic intelligence. A second evolved variant called alphas emerged with increased intelligence and strategic thinking capabilities. Unlike the mindless rage infected from the original film, alphas can hunt, plan, and sustain themselves rather than dying from starvation. This evolution makes biological sense. A virus that kills its host too quickly would wipe itself out. Holy Island was founded in 635 AD as a monastery. The film's primary location, Holy Island, Lindisfarne, has deep historical significance dating back to 635 AD, when King Oswald established a monastery to spread Christianity. The island was raided by Vikings in 793 AD, marking the beginning of Viking rule in Britain. The island's strategic tidal causeway provided natural defenses against invaders, just as it does against the infected. The forest scenes were filmed 66 miles from Holy Island. While Holy Island doesn't have massive forest coverage along its coastland, the forest sequences were actually filmed in Kielder, approximately 66 miles away. The production altered the geography for dramatic effect, creating a straight causeway path that doesn't exist in reality. This creative liberty helped establish the journey's danger and isolation. The inverted crucifix has dual religious meaning. Jimmy wears his father's crucifix upside down throughout the film, which carries layered symbolism. Historically, an inverted cross represents St. Peter's martyrdom, as he was crucified upside down. However, modern interpretation associates it with opposition to Christianity and Satan, reflecting how Jimmy's priest father was corrupted by believing the infected were saved during the rapture. Ralph Fiennes plays Dr. Kelson, who seems insane but isn't. Ralph Fiennes portrays Dr. Kelson, a character the Islanders describe as dangerous and insane, yet he appears kind and helpful. This plays into the film's major theme that appearances can be deceiving. The insane doctor offers hope while the seemingly safe island community has darker elements. The film consistently subverts expectations about who represents safety versus danger. The opening uses Teletubbies as an innocent symbol. The film opens with young Jimmy watching Teletubbies, using the bright, colorful children's show to juxtapose the violence that follows. The Teletubbies theme, Over the Hills and Far Away, mirrors how infected frequently appear coming over hills throughout the film. This may have inspired the gang Jimmy leads later, who work together like a team and wear coordinated outfits. The budget ballooned to nearly 10 times the original. 28 years later had a production budget of approximately $75 million, making it nearly 10 times more expensive than the original 28 Days Later, which cost just $8 million. The sequel 28 Weeks Later only cost $15 million, meaning this third installment is 5 times more expensive than its immediate predecessor. Aaron Taylor Johnson was filming while being eyed for James Bond. Aaron Taylor Johnson joined the cast while he was the leading candidate to become the next James Bond, adding extra intrigue to his casting. The actor, known for Kick-Ass and Avengers, Age of Ultron, brought serious action credentials to the zombie franchise. Newcastle's industrial Holt's Yard became the production base. The production used Newcastle's Holt's Yard as both a filming location for deserted city streets and as the main production base camp. The industrial spaces and urban decay provided perfect post-apocalyptic visuals while offering flexible infrastructure for the massive shoot. A 12th century monastery was transformed into a film location. The historic Fountains Abbey, a 12th century monastery in North Yorkshire, was used as a filming location alongside the dramatic Aysgarth Falls carved by the River Ure. These ancient locations added haunting historical depth to the post-apocalyptic landscape. The third film's future hangs in the balance. Despite filming 2 movies back-to-back, the third installment of the planned trilogy remains in limbo depending on box office performance. Director Danny Boyle noted financial limitations to completing the trilogy, making the franchise's continuation uncertain despite the ambitious 3-film plan.